Hi, I'm producing this video to answer to one of the most common question pertaining to aircon servicing on the need for general servicing and maintenance contract. So it may come as a surprise to you is that having been in this industry for 10 over years, generally I'm pretty much against general servicing as well as maintenance contract. So a lot of companies are doing general servicing, maintenance contract, but largely due to the fact that this industry has a need for that because of tenancy agreement. So if you're renting a property from somebody, in the tenancy agreement it states that you have to do it every 3 months. So if people keep doing that and promoting that, the market may start to accept and the fact accept that you need to do something to your aircon every 3 months, otherwise something bad is going to happen. But that's not the truth. The reality of most cases that I've encountered is that most family would have a system 4 aircon. So system 4 meaning to say 1 condenser, 4 aircon, and it is very common, especially for a young family, is that the master bedroom aircon is the one that is used daily for long hours, like 8 hours or 10 hours, and they do use the living room, maybe while they're back at home, watch some TV, and basically that's all, and maybe the study room, but sparingly. So it's common that this kind of usage pattern and the kind of environment that most of my customers is having, the kind of lifestyle actually creates a kind of condition where the aircon actually after about a year or so can become very moldy and bacteria infested, especially in the master bedroom. The reason is quite simple, is that because aircon nowadays are built to be even more energy efficient, so the fins are very tight together, and not forgetting Singapore's high humidity. So after you use the aircon and turn it off, actually a lot of condensation starts forming on the internal parts of the aircon, the fan coil, and the fan coil, which is built to be efficient and wraps around the circular blower, actually transfer the quote-unquote coldness onto that blower drum. So that is the fan. So after you turn off your aircon, actually that drum becomes wet, and the old technology rarely have this problem. So wet blower actually creates a lot of problem, because when it's wet, right, and as long as the room has got organic stuff which gets absorbed into the system, after you have cycled the air in the room for maybe 3 to 6 months or so, there's enough of organic material on the surface of this blower drum, and when you give it an environment where it's wet, bacteria and mold starts to grow, because bacteria and mold actually shows up to break down organic stuff, and they will only actually begin to multiply and grow when there's enough of water to support the colony, and they also need heat. So another problem we encounter is due to, actually all these are lifestyle change. People are getting more and more affluent and richer per se, so they go on holiday once or twice in a year, during school holiday, during year end or so. So during the holiday season, the aircon shuts down. So not forgetting that if you have already deposited some organic stuff on the internal parts of the aircon and the blower is wet, so the trouble with the aircon is that the moisture actually gets trapped within the aircon, and it stays wet for sometimes as long as 2 weeks, at least a couple of days. So when you go on holiday, definitely you close your windows, you close your doors, you shut the entire property. And depending on that property itself, some properties has got morning sun, has got evening sun. Buildings are now built a lot nicer with drop down windows, HDB looking like condominiums. Very nice properties with a lot of lights. The trouble is that you get the sunlight in, it heats up the place, especially the east-west facing properties. So when the room heats up, the room is hot now, and even if you have direct sunlight coming in, some people are saying, yeah, direct sunlight is good, it kills bacteria, kills smoke. The trouble is that the sunlight is not getting inside the aircon. The sunlight hits onto your sofa, onto your floor, but not on the aircon. It simply warms up that room. So the room is hot, and the environment is very stable because the aircon is not running. And when the aircon is running, actually the air is cold. So when the air is cold, that time the bacterial growth in fact is slower. So now that we know of such problems, so it's little wonder that how come nowadays aircon shortly after 1 year actually becomes bacterial more infested, where during our parents' time we don't have such problem. But in the first place, our parents probably don't have aircon. And this is the problems that people encounter. So once the aircon starts giving them problems, so the bacteria that grows is a kind of bacteria called bacterial biofilm. So the bacteria is very smart, is that it thickens until it's like slime. The reason why it behaves in such a way is that when it thickens, right, if you use chemical or anything to try to destroy them, it only destroy the top layer, and the center portion is still active. So it doesn't mean that you spray some chemical is going to kill them. Chances are is that the top layer is going to be affected, but the center layer is still good. So after the dead bacteria is going to be smelly. So it's not going to work that way. So you have to have a method, a correct technology, correct process to make sure that it's properly flush out of the system. So that's the bacteria that we're talking about. This bacterial jelly, because it's so thick, right, if it normally forms at the water tray first, and then it clogs your drain pipe. So when it clogs your drain pipe, your water doesn't flow out. And what does general servicing do is that they use a vacuum, attach a brush, and they vacuum away the jelly, and they vacuum the drain pipe. So not knowing that the jelly is bacteria, and you do a contact servicing method like this, now the brush is full of bacteria. Then they take this brush, they go brush on your fan coil. So that fan coil is your heating, your this heat exchanger. This is where it produces the cold air. So now you're spreading the bacteria onto the fan coil. So now you get more bacteria on the system. And if it starts multiplying on the fan coil, sooner or later it's going to choke your fan coil. And because it's transparent, you look at it, you can't even tell. But it's causing a performance drop because the first of all is that the jelly itself, the heat exchange property is bad. It blocks the airflow as well. And then you find that the problem doesn't seem to go away. When they come, they unclog the pipe, they vacuum away the jelly, and on the blower actually you get more. What looks like dust actually is more cum dust. So how can you brush on more, vacuum away? Yeah, you remove like even 70%. Whatever that you can't remove becomes loose and easily airborne, and that becomes a health problem. If you're talking about dust, I'm not worried, because you step out of the road, there's a lot of dust. Now we even have haze. So how bad it is. But mold is something that we really have to be careful. A lot of people get very sick because of mold contamination, Lyme disease, whatever you name it. So the brushing of the circular blower to be avoided. So general servicing, actually there's so many methods and so many companies doing. Some do it slightly better than the others, some rubbish. Okay, give you an example. They can list a lot of things. Check this, check that, check gas pressure. What's there to check? I mean, what's there to check the gas pressure? Do you ever check gas pressure of your fridge? When do you last top up the gas of your fridge? Refrigerator and aircon works on the same fundamentals. Do we have to top up the gas for the fridge? Never, because it's a sealed system. So if your aircon is installed properly, there's no leak, don't disturb it, okay? No need to check the gas pressure. So I really don't understand the rationale behind checking gas pressure. And most of the time after they check, they say you need to top up some gas. Do you need to top up gas, or are you topping up his wallet? So these are the things that is going on in the market. So, and sometimes people got the idea that you need to keep topping up the gas. I mean, this is not a ink printer, you know, just keep having to fill up the ink cartridge. It doesn't behave that way. So the general servicing, they check gas. You shouldn't even go and touch it, okay? Check blower, physical check called check. I look at it, if it's dirty, it's dirty, and if it's moldy and bacteria infested, I mean, what are you gonna do about that? I mean, you're gonna brush it. I mean, that's silly, right? And if it's just the filter that's dusty, then you don't even bother to call them. Just take the filter and wash it by yourself. And of course, is that they can say they check everything, and check bearing, check this nonsense. They're not gonna do it, you know. If physically looking at it's called check, then a health check, I just look at you and say, yeah, you look pretty okay. I mean, am I gonna tell that you've got cholesterol problem or you got a heart attack? Unless you go through some serious MRI or whatever test. So that's the general servicing that's offered in the market. Some companies are the circular blower, which I mentioned, which can be very moldy. Some they dismantle and wash it. But a lot of okay, that is a safer way to do it, because when you're dealing with mold, the last thing is to brush it and cause them to become airborne. They take out this blower, they wash it, but a lot of times these guys are not using any high pressure jet, so it's just off your running hose. They can apply some strong chemical to help to detach it, but these are very stubborn stains, so you really need to use a high pressure jet to jet it out properly. So those that is done just using a normal water hose, even with chemical, after washing, the drum looks black. When it dries up, you start to see the problem. Shine a torchlight, take a video, you see that there's still a thin layer of mold on it, and that blower is going to look a little bit grayish. So but still it's not causing things to become airborne. So that's a kind of general servicing that's acceptable, in my opinion. So if you want to do general servicing, select one company that does that. And then the drain pipe, of course, is that they use a vacuum. They suck out the jelly, which is the bacteria. So it's useful to unclog the pipe. But yet the thing is that if your whole system is full of bacteria until it clogs your drain pipe, something is seriously not right. Your heat exchanger is also full of jelly, which is the bacteria. And if your blower is also becoming moldy, then obviously your aircon is actually not in a good shape. So you have to first understand is that what is happening to your aircon. There's something not right, or the condition of the apartment you're staying in is not favorable. You don't get to the root of the problem, then you're just doing a 6:30 cleaning. Your problem will never go away. So later I'll cover that again. So if these guys were to clean the blower by washing it and unclog the pipe, yes, it stops the leaking, improves the airflow, but nothing is done to remove the bacteria on the surface of the fan coil. So you can do it like 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Then after that, the fan coil becomes so clogged up with the bacterial biofilm, If these guys knows what that they're doing and they don't vacuum and then use the contaminated brush to brush on your fin, then the less they will transfer the biofilm onto the fan coil. But our experience tells us that it's rarely the case, because sometimes you get dust on the surface of the fan coil. So if they don't vacuum away that dust, it looks bad on them. So but the trouble is that they don't have a really clean brush to change and then do it properly for you. It's just economically not viable, so no one is doing that. And the moment they start using that bacteria infested brush to brush onto the fan coil, bacterial biofilm starts to colonize on the fan coil. So after a few rounds of your cleaning, the jelly or the bacterial biofilm starts colonizing and growing on the fan coil, clogging the fan coil even worse. So the performance issue, and customers felt that I have been regularly servicing my aircon, how come performance keeps getting from bad to worse? Yeah, maybe I need a gas top up. But the trouble is not with the gas, you know, there shouldn't be any need to top up gas, but rather the fan coil, which looks good, is clogged and the heat exchange property is bad. It's like someone suffering from indigestion. It's not because this guy has got no food to eat, but he cannot digest the food. And if someone is suffering from indigestion, what do? Do you give him more food? Obviously not. You're gonna kill him by doing so. So why is it that when your aircon is clogged, you put in more gas? You're gonna kill the compressor, right? So but we've seen a lot of mistakes happening like this. Customers doing general servicing which doesn't really work, and end up they start suspecting that something's wrong with the gas, and they gotta keep topping up gas and kill the compressor at the end of the day. So that's the general servicing. So back to what I'm saying is that it's more useful for you to really understand what causes this aircon performance issue. Get to the root, solve it at the root level, and you find that you can maintain your aircon actually cheaper than you take out a maintenance contract, because it's not working. The contract looks cheaper because it's like quantitative. It's like, oh, I do 4 aircon 4 times in a year, and then I spend like $400. So every time I only spend $100, and each aircon costs me like $25. So that's cheap. 1 year you spend $400. Maybe you only need to do 1 aircon properly once in a year, $250. So which is cheaper? And if it's not done properly, sooner or later you still have to do a chemical cleaning. And then of course chemical cleaning, there's so many types of chemical cleaning, and which in another video I have covered. So not done properly destroys your system as well. So then when your aircon actually becomes bacteria and mold infested, now is the question is that we want to cover actually what causes that. It's often a result of user behavior, but largely due to the way the houses are built nowadays and the lifestyle. So quite interestingly, this is what I observe. Young couples, for example, they get a new BTO flat, and the better so-called the more some customers who are more lucky, they buy a new condo. But it's about the same. One strange thing is that I find that nowadays people don't open windows. The windows are always shut for a few reasons. The wife is afraid of creepy crawlies, insects, flies, mosquitoes, whatever, you name it, lizard, gecko, cockroach. So the windows are always shut, and and maybe it's not the wife, it's the husband. And so when this window is always shut, the sooner or later the room is gonna smell a little bit stale. So, and of course is that nowadays people start wearing perfume. So in the morning they spray some perfume and say it's okay. After that I'm not turning on the aircon. Or worst day is that they burn essential oil. They have this nice diffuser with those sticks and smells really nice. It can be like Crabtree and Evelyn, or some really expensive Forever Living products, essential oil. Expensive stuff. And with all this scented stuff that evaporates, actually the air actually has got a lot of these oil particles, natural oil particles, anything that's organic. So you don't change the air, whatever that you release actually stays in that room, so the density keeps speeding up. So you use your aircon, it cycles through. And worse is that some people actually, when they use the aircon, they burn essential oil, so you're releasing a lot of stuff. Even when you don't use perfume, essential oil, things like that, as long as you're one living being breathing, there's stuff coming out from your lungs. And the air quality in the room actually gets from bad to worse. And in fact, a real professional will tell you that even if you use an air purifier, the correct way to use an air purifier is to open the windows first. Change the air before you turn on the air purifiers. But a lot of people, they got it wrong. They thought, when I have an air purifier, the air quality is getting better and better, so you close the windows to keep purifying. Oh, now it's like getting down. So you don't change the air. But it doesn't work that way, because the very tiny nanoparticles, especially from the oil, from the scented stuff, organic stuff, usually we have difficulty filtering out, or you can't filter them out fast enough. So the most effective way, in fact, is to change the air. So the moment you open your window, and if your house is windy and the air actually goes out, then you find that all those troublemaker, which is the small nanoparticles, they get exchanged out. But what comes in is the big dust particles. But the big ones are easy to filter, not the small ones. So for those that got it wrong and use air purifier without changing the air in the room, tends to have a very moldy and bacteria infested aircon. So these are the things that is happening. Changing lifestyle, people don't open windows, use of essential oil, things like that. And not forgetting is that now rooms are a bit smaller and smaller. The smaller it is, the higher the density. So a smaller room with a low ceiling means that the volume is smaller. Then of course you get even higher concentration, especially master bedroom, because now you got shower facility, moisture level is higher, you got a toilet there, so lots of bacteria, everything in the air. So the air quality, the moisture level in a modern HDB master room actually is pretty bad. And if you look at that, right, in the toilet is facing the windows, and the door is perpendicular. You open your windows, the wind doesn't really flow very well. So for air to move, actually you really have to cross the wind. So, and the layout of the house plays one part. So if the wind doesn't cross very well, then stuff remains. So but there are a few things that we can do to help to manage this problem. Is that, okay, when we say we want to cross the wind and change the air, what that we are looking at is to manage the amount of organic stuff that's in the air. So we do to the best of our ability. If you can avoid using essential oil scented stuff, then please try not to use them. Some families cook and then they say, yeah, the kitchen is quite far away. But then when I ask them, but when you cook, do you smell the food smell in your room? They say, yeah, I do smell that. It means that somehow the wind direction or whatever is just not favorable, and all this starch protein oil is creeping into that room. So then if you still don't change the air, all this stuff is in the room. So we first of all is that we want to manage the organic stuff in the air. The other thing that I mentioned is managing the heat. Some rooms that have afternoon sun, evening sun, you want to block out the sunlight during this hour of the day, so that the room doesn't heat up. And of course is that very importantly is that we also want to manage the moisture in the aircon. So the moisture in the aircon, that one can't be helped because Singapore's humidity is super high. Once you turn it on, the fan coil is so wet. One night it removes like 5 to 10 liters of water just by pulling out air from the moisture out from the air in your room. So this is how humid it is. It's impossible to control moisture. But one good thing that we can do is, as some of the aircon manufacturers have thought about that and have implemented into that system, is that, for example, a Daikin aircon that is equipped with a mold-proof function, when you turn off your aircon, the fan continues to run for maybe about 2 hours. So by doing so, it dries up the internal parts. So you control the moisture, you control 1/3 of the problem. And in fact, moisture is one of the bigger problems. But I wouldn't say so, but the biggest problem is with the essential oil or the organic stuff. So you control the organic stuff, you will get a much better result. So, but of course it's good if you can control the moisture. So some aircon that has the drying function is good. But what about those aircon that don't have this fan mode? Then it means that you have to manually go and set it, switch it to a fan mode and run it for like 2 hours every day, which is very difficult. You know, a lot of trouble. Before you turn off the aircon and switch it on, then 2 hours you're out already, you're already in the office. How are you going to turn it off? But of course, there's easy solutions, like you buy an infrared transmitter, like a Broadlink Mini, like you order from Lazada, it sends to your house for under $20. It's a very cheap solution. So if you buy one of these gadgets, for instance, you pair it up with your Wi-Fi, then automatically your aircon becomes Wi-Fi enabled. You can control the aircon using your app that comes together with Broadlink, for instance, and you can set a automatic timer. So every day at certain hours it turns on the aircon for like 2 hours or so, dries the system. So that will greatly manage your problem. So you see, what that we need to do is that we have to understand the importance of managing these 3 things in our house: the heat, the amount of organic stuff, and the importance of drying the aircon. So if you do these 3 things correctly, you'll find that your aircon probably may become moldy in about 1.5 to 2 years. It will still become moldy and bacteria infested. It's just that how soon it becomes moldy. So once you manage that, then you find that when it comes to that situation, you should do a proper disinfection and not those rubbish cleanings that start spreading things around. It doesn't work that way. So so once you do that, then you find that it's actually, aircon is quite trouble-free. And what you can do for yourself, I mean, if your house is dusty, the filter gets dusty, pull it down, wash it, put it back. I mean, everyone can do that. The irony is that a lot of customers who have very moldy aircon are those that don't open windows, so they use air purifier, things like that. There's no dust in the house, so the filters are very clean, but inside is super moldy. And it's the other way around, you know. Those customers that open the windows, yeah, you get more dust, you get dusty air filter. Just take it, wash it, put it back, the inside is still okay. Then you disinfect it like once every 1 to 2 years. So that's what I'm hoping to clarify, and tell people that 3 monthly maintenance contract is just pure rubbish. Don't do that, because while it's said to improve air quality, in fact it causes the air quality to become even worse. And why is it important to bring this up? It's because a lot are young parents. They are expecting a baby. So before the baby is born, they sign a maintenance contract, hoping to get the results as what these companies are promoting. The reality is that they are better off not doing anything than to have someone come in with very dirty bacteria, mold infested brush and start brushing on the fins and causing mold to become airborne. We've seen a lot of stuff on the aircon blower, so I'm sure there's a lot of YouTube videos on my website. Some actually shows a lot of very moldy blower. We've seen this mold cluster next to another bacterial cluster that's pink in color, and this is Serrasima sensor. We've seen white color mold, penicillin, all sorts of stuff. And if you got penicillin and you get this thing airborne, and this infant with underdeveloped lung systems gets this penicillin into the system, your child's has a 50% chance higher than normal of growing up asthmatic. And while you're trying to protect your children to give them better air quality, whatever that you're doing unknowingly is causing them more harm. And this can be a long-term effect. You know, I mean, your child grows up asthmatic, is asthmatic for the rest of his life, maybe. So we need to be informed. What I can give you is information for you to do your research, to see whether what I'm saying, what I'm sharing is truth, and so that you and your family can be better protected. So thanks for watching my video. My name is Kevin, and I'm from a small company called Aircon, and I invented a cleaning system that I filed for patent, I think somewhere in 2004, so or 2014, can't recall. So it's like 7 years patent granted cleaning method. So yeah, so that's my background. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye bye.